All right, so on my announcement on the Language Google Classroom earlier this morning, I said I would post another video kind of helping you out a little bit with this sentence structure writing since I've been getting quite a few questions about it. So our main goal with this activity and learning about the simple, compound, and complex sentence degrees or types of sentence is that when we are writing as 7th and 8th graders, and even 6th graders, it's good to have a combination of the three sentences throughout our writing. We don't want to have a writing with all simple sentences or all compound sentences or all complex sentences, just because that adds a little bit of a, for lack of a better term, a boring factor to our writing. When we combine these three types of sentences in our writing, in a mixture of them, and not necessarily one after the other like in here, in this activity. But when we combine simple, compound, and complex sentences together in a paragraph or in a story, it adds this dimension of kind of suspense, but also detail, and it kind of keeps the reader's attention a little bit better than just using not a good combination of these three, or just one of them, or just two of them. So that's why we are practicing combining these types of sentences into a writing. So you'll notice that simple sentences, like we talked about before, are very kindergarten type sentences, but they're not bad to have in our writing. We just don't want to have our whole writing to be simple sentences. So you'll notice I have 4 of them throughout my writing. But what I like about combining a simple sentence next to a compound or complex sentence is that they add this type of suspense, what I was talking about earlier. So it says, here's a sad story. Okay, that's a very kindergarten sentence, and I'm sure you could probably pick that out. But it kind of sets the stage as, all right, I'm kind of intrigued what's going to happen, even though it is a simple sentence. So here's a sad story. Someone stole Mrs. Hurst's pen, but they had left a trail. Although the trail was not super noticeable, Mrs. Hurst was still able to notice something. There were muddy footprints. Now notice how we go from this complex sentence here, because although isn't a woobus in a sentence makes that a complex sentence. We go from a complex to a simple sentence, and it adds a type of suspense to the end, especially with the topic that I'm writing about. But it adds this suspense, or this like pause, that kind of makes the reader stop and think. I'm going to read those 2 sentences again and kind of keep that in the back of your mind as you're going through this. Although the trail was not super noticeable, Mrs. Hurst was still able to notice something. There were muddy footprints. Notice that this right here is a very, very simple sentence, elementary sentence. And this right here is our 6th grade sentence, or like our sugar cookie, our frosting, and our sprinkle type of sentence. Okay, but combining them together or next to each other really adds a dimension to your writing. Which, if we had all of these big, long types of sentences, or a little bit more fancier types of sentences, I think your reader, or the reader, would get a little bored of your writing, to be honest, because you have all these complicated or complex sentences that really make the reader stop and think all the time. But when you have a combination of these sentences here, it really helps the reader to pause and visualize these in more detail. Okay, so that's our main goal with this activity. Now, and I agree, when you are writing, you're not going to always, probably ever, pass this assignment, be writing in this pattern here. But I just wanted to give you this pattern so that you had a structure to use as you are writing. Now, the biggest question I'm getting has to do with this part of the direction here. Choose a good fit and appropriate topic for you to write about. A lot of kids have asked questions of, Mrs. Hurst, I don't know what to write about. I have no idea where to start. What I'm going to do is attach to this assignment in this video in Google Classroom a paragraph prompt sheet. It's going to have a bunch of different prompts of just ideas that maybe could get you started. Not necessarily that you have to choose from those prompts or from that list, but maybe something on that list will trigger another idea or a topic for you to write about. Okay, so this is my example. You're going to be writing your own 12-sentence story on the back side of this sheet if you're choosing to do it on paper, or you can type it up and submit it on Google Classroom through a Google Doc. And then you are more than welcome to use this guy as a checklist. So as you write your first sentence, cross this off. so that you know you're done with that one, and so you know where you are in the pattern. Also, if you want to color code these like I did on my front side of this in the original video, you can do that. But what I would do is write it out first if you're going to write it here, or type it out first if you're typing it on Google Doc. And then once you're done with the whole story, go back and do the highlighting to see that dimension and that difference in the combination of the three sentences. Okay, hopefully that helped. These writings, or this sentence structure writing, will be due the day of your test. So Group A, your test is on Thursday, which is tomorrow. You will have this due that day. Group B, you'll be here on Friday, and that is when you are taking your sentences test, and that is when you will turn this in along with your conjunction and sentences worksheet, which you got either yesterday in class or today for Group B in class. Okay, let me know if you have any other questions. Hopefully this answers quite a few of them, but again, I may have forgotten something. So just let me know, and good luck.